How did you know you had married the wrong person? When he threatened me that I would never see my daughter again and would leave for hours on end with her without telling me when, where, or how, when I couldn't stop crying from postpartum depression. She was the greatest gift I could ever give him. I knew then I and neither her would ever be treated like we deserved. Started saving money, waited for his work trip, enlisted friend help, moved to my parents while looking for a new place, got new place, new job, began new chapter as a single mom. Hardest chapter of my life, but worth every single minute. I knew I had married the wrong person before we even got married. After we had our first child, her whole atmosphere changed. She no longer cared about our physical relationship, emotional relationship, or any aspect of us. As long as I was paying the bills and she had a place to live, she was happy and quiet. Now, we have 2 kids, by some miracle, and I still question if they are mine, and we are still unhappily married, still have almost zero physical activity, and honestly, I don't know how to get out. I pay all the bills. The house down payment was hers, but I have paid every penny of it. I don't know how to get out safely and without losing my tail in the process. There isn't a one-size-fits-all answer to this question, as the decision to get divorced will be based on individual circumstances. However, some signs that may indicate that a marriage is not working include feeling like you're no longer in love with your spouse, having little or no communication with them, feeling trapped in the relationship, and or not enjoying family life anymore. If you do decide that getting divorced is the best option for you, it's important to have a clear idea of what you want from the divorce process. This includes things like how assets will be divided, whether or not spousal support will be awarded, and who will have custody of any children. It's also important. I think it was a subconscious thing. When we first met I was 18 and I wanted kids. After we were together a few years I didn't want kids anymore. After I left him, I realized I didn't want kids with him. He basically treated me like a child, which I accepted. He was older, but I didn't want him treating our kids like that. I think there was a moment where I realized that if I couldn't accept him treating our kids like that, why did I accept him treating me like that? Every mistake was the end of the world for him, and kids make a lot of mistakes that he certainly wouldn't have dealt with very well and made them feel very bad for it. I know because that's what he did to me. You wake up one morning to find you're so going through your phone. We're an open book to each other. We have each other's passcode, and just yesterday when I was looking something up on her phone she suggested I add my Face ID. I'd just been thinking the same for he and my phone last night. My partner done this unbeknownst to me at the time. I was using my notes to write my feelings and thoughts as a way to vent and get them off my chest. Some hurtful ugly that I was feeling and thinking, especially towards him at the time. He read it all. I never lead on that, I knew he did, but every so often during a small argument he'd throw bits and pieces at me that he read, I guess to get a reaction, to see if I'd lie about it or wonder why he'd say something like that. I also would throw in some shade and say, well, go through my phone, you've done it before, just to get the reply. I've never gone through your phone, lol. I mean, based on my last relationship, I'd ask if she needed help finding something, assuming she was looking for something in a text or looking for a pic. In other relationships, I might be more, what the, do you think you're doing? I don't really have anything to hide, but based on where the relationship is, I might not want them to have access to things like financial info, and we might not have established trust yet. I was married to a man whose response to me simply asking to see his phone was to smash it into a million pieces by flinging it at our bedroom wall. So nothing to hide, obviously. And now I'm with a man who knows I forget to change my phone all the time, so I need his to watch Insta Reels when I'm bored, and he's playing the PS5 I bought him cause he doesn't care if I use his phone cause he's not a lying, cheating piece of. Bizarre to me how many people here at least claim to be okay with such a huge invasion of privacy. Are you also okay with your partner opening and reading your physical mail without asking? Reading your diary? I would never touch my partner's phone or other item that holds their data without their consent, and expect the same in reverse. As to what I would do, hard to say. Not exactly break up, but certainly let them know they up. I hate the amount of energy you have to spend on keeping your phone a secret to yourself. And I have seen people doing this inside a relationship as well, which feels weird. I would rather just keep it as open and easy as possible. Voluntarily give my passcode and stuff. If you are open and have nothing to hide, they won't have a need to snoop through your phone in the first place. Paranoid people being exemptions. I have nothing to hide if he is my, so we are speaking of looking into my phone. Look away. What movie quote do you use most often in conversation? Super Serial, South Park, Man Bear Pig. Whenever anybody asks if I'm being serious, I was saying Boo Earns, Simpsons. I say this whenever there is a miscommunication, or if I am asked to repeat myself. Well, I didn't vote for you, Monty Python. I say this if I disagree with someone. It's not like it's an everyday thing, but I love to quote Jim Carrey's The Grinch schedule dialogue. Even if I wanted to go, my schedule wouldn't allow it. 1 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5 o'clock, solve world hunger, tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise. 6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. 7 o'clock, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked. Tenfold from Avatar The Last Airbender Episode 21 Siege of the North Part 2. The full quote is by Uncle Iroh. Whatever you do to that spirit I will do to you tenfold. Put it down now. Became a habit. Also have my spine tattooed with Tui and La. I'm a little obsessed. There's no crying in baseball, but I change it to there's no crying in calculus cause I teach calculus. Also, of course it's hard. If it was easy anyone could do it. Both from a league of their own and quad. Boy, that escalated quickly. And quad. I work with a lot of melodrama monarchs. A few classic MS deck lines. One time some street preacher asked my friend and I worshipped. With a straight face, we put our faith in blast hard cheese and quad. When asked if I want something, I want to decide who lives and who dies. And quad. Big McLarge Huge is my go-to fake name for scammer calls. Do not use your supposed stupidity as an excuse for all the pain that you've caused me! And quad. And hashtag X200B. From a Filipino movie, Four Sisters and a Wedding. I use it when someone uses self-pity to gaslight me. What we have here is a complete lack of respect for the law. Sheriff Beaufort T. Justice in Smokey and the Bandit. You can't handle the truth. Colonel Nathan Jessup, Jack Nicholson, in A Few Good Men. And quad. Hath hitteth the fan. Ith and quad. 10 things I hate about you. At the end at prom, when everyone finds out the deception. We use it all the time. I love this post. We just added a great room to our house to watch movies. We're huge movie buffs. I decided to cover the walls with our favorite movie quotes. They not have a picture of. I have 2 phones. One I use for calls and such, just some cheap POS, and the other I use for games because it's just better overall. One with service as basic lock screen because anytime I change it to something personal something happens to my phone to make it unusable. The other without service has a pic of some oranges I told my partner to buy from a street vendor while we were long distance. No reason for buying them other than I thought street vendors were cool and they didn't have them where I was at the time. When my boy was 2 I took a picture of him buried in a blanket with his head popping out, huge smile, perfect baby teeth. Perfect picture capturing the joy and innocence of childhood. It's been my phone home screen and lock screen ever since. It will be until the day I die. I smile every time I open my phone to check my email or the time. That's why I don't have a wallpaper. A cool background of the moon just doesn't hit me the same way. I love the moon and all, but I love my boy to the moon and back. And since I look at my home screen on the normal average of 96 times a day, I like to see my boy and not a cool design. I have simple wallpaper for all my devices. And in my house, I don't have pictures on my walls of people, spouse, kids, family, pets. I realize some people like having their phone or computers to have loved ones as the wallpaper, but I sure don't. I see them in person all the time. This is what I have as my lock screen / home screen wallpaper. https://i.pinham.com/original/18/ab77777275489992D930747D6C8a67.jpg https://ab77777275489992D930747D6C8a67.jpg. I've always had pretty simple backgrounds. I like having non-distracting backgrounds. I don't think I've ever done photos on my phone lock and background. Right now, lock is Zelda getting a bottle out of a vending machine while Link looks at a second one next to it in modern everyday clothes. Background is a pixel drawing of a tricolor corgi popping out of a pile of leaves. What did the pandemic ruin more than we realize? Young people's desire to go into healthcare. We won't realize it for a generation or so, but healthcare in America was already chronically understaffed. The pandemic burning out medical professionals and discouraging young people from going into healthcare is going to have a negative effect on the quality of healthcare, not only in the United States, but other hard-hit countries, too. Leaving the house. Goes to Subway, I can make a better sandwich at home. Goes to a nail salon, I can paint my nails better than this lady. Goes to a hair salon, I've been cutting my hair solo for 2 years now, I'm a pro. Goes to work, I can do all of this more efficiently at home. Goes to Applebee's, I can provide myself with mediocre service at home. Goes to Walmart, I can order all of this online. Why did I leave the house again? People seem so much shittier in large group public situations now. I don't know what it is, but etiquette in places like a movie theater used to be standard, but every experience I've had lately has been horrible. People talking, sitting there on their phones, and other just generally bad things. I've heard the same about concerts, but haven't been to as many myself. I've heard from others where people used to be polite, help each other up in pits and stuff and so on. They now just don't give a. It's like people are just more rude now for some reason. I'm really interested to know if this is happening everywhere or if I just live in a rude place. My waistline, and my mental well-being. It's my own fault, but I was about 6 months sober and working out daily before COVID. A few days later, half my department and my co-manager are laid off. I'm suddenly working 14-hour days in extremely stressful conditions. Walking my dog and working out took a backseat to a shot or two of Jack to calm my nerves and whatever comfort food I could get from Grubhub. Life is better now, but I haven't quite kicked all the bad habits I gained from those days. Stress affects me differently, and I'm a lot more sensitive to it than I used to be. I'd give it's like this everywhere, but certainly where I live a lot of the stores and restaurants still have hours. They close a lot earlier than they used to before the pandemic and there's no sign of them ever returning to their normal hours of operation, which really sucks for people like me whose schedules only allow for late night shopping trips. Another thing I've noticed with certain restaurants is their quality of food and taste have suffered dramatically. Some of my favorite places to eat aren't nearly as good as they used to be.